Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely wild and honestly pretty shocking turn of events in the tech world. We are going to unpack the extremely rapid rollout and even faster retraction of a major new artificial intelligence feature by one of the biggest companies on the planet. I mean, imagine launching a highly anticipated cutting-edge tool on a global platform trusted by literally millions of people, only to realize the implications were so severe you had to pull the plug almost immediately. Well, that is exactly what just happened with Google Earth. Just 48 hours. I want you to really think about that time frame for a second. It took less than 48 hours for an absolute internet giant to launch, monitor, and then completely pull a highly anticipated AI feature from public use. In the world of massive tech deployments, 48 hours is the blink of an eye. It's a remarkably short window that tells us something went fundamentally, undeniably wrong right out of the gate. All right, we've got a lot of ground to cover today. First, we'll look at the 48-hour rollback. Then, we'll dive into how genuine coordinates were weaponized. After that, we'll see exactly how the AI guardrails were bypassed. And finally, we'll wrap up with the erosion of trust. So, Part 1, the 48-hour rollback, the rapid rise and fall of Nano Banana 2. Let's establish exactly what took place during this incredibly brief and chaotic launch window. It's basically a masterclass in corporate whiplash. On Thursday, Google officially integrates its new AI image generator, which they called Nano Banana 2, directly into Google Earth. But almost immediately, between Thursday and Friday, users start generating images that clearly violate safety policies. This catches the attention of researchers, notably BBC Verify, who jump in and begin actively investigating and testing the tool's limits. By Friday, Google releases a statement saying, "Hey, we've seen people sharing screenshots of generated imagery that violates policies." And they abruptly pause the feature to implement stronger guardrails. Just like that, it was gone. So, what exactly was this tool? Nano Banana 2 was an AI integration that let users type in text prompts to generate completely false scenarios. But the critical part, the part that makes this so different from your standard AI image generator, is that these fake scenarios were generated directly on top of a base layer of real, actual satellite, aerial, or 3D imagery inside Google Earth. And to make matters worse, these manipulated maps could then be easily downloaded and shared across other social media platforms as standalone images. Moving on to Part 2, weaponizing genuine coordinates and testing the limits of the AI. Because, once a tool like this is out in the wild, researchers and bad actors are going to immediately exploit the integration to see exactly what it's capable of. BBC Verify and a bunch of AI experts rapidly fired off these really vivid and alarming prompts to illustrate the sheer scale of what could be fabricated. Some of these are just surreal, like a collapsed Eiffel Tower or a massive sinkhole swallowing the Great Pyramid of Giza. But then you look at the others, and the real gravity of the situation hits you. Russian tanks rolling through Ukraine's capital, a completely non-existent nuclear power plant in Iran, a fabricated refugee camp on the US-Mexico border, and perhaps most alarmingly, a fake hospital in Gaza complete with a bomb crater next to it. These aren't just silly internet pictures. These are highly sensitive, geopolitically charged scenarios generated on command. AI and misinformation expert Henk van Es explains this threat brilliantly. He said, "The forgery does not have to look convincing on its own. It inherits the credibility of the map it was born on. It's literally a Trojan horse. The danger isn't necessarily that the AI draws a perfect tank or a hyper-realistic crater. The danger is that the invented imagery is welded to genuine, highly trusted real-world coordinates. Because we inherently trust the underlying Google Earth map, our brains automatically extend that trust to the fake AI element sitting right on top of it." Which brings us to Part 3, bypassing the guardrails, the illusion of built-in AI safety. Now, looking at those horrifying examples, you might be asking yourself, didn't Google have safety nets to prevent this? Well, they thought they did. So let's break down exactly how those guardrails were so easily bypassed. When they launched the tool, Google claimed 3 specific steps would protect the public from being deceived. First, built-in guidelines that would automatically prevent the creation of harmful topics. Second, they applied invisible watermarks to the AI content to definitively indicate that it was fake or manipulated. And third, they told the public that if anyone was unsure about an image, they could just run a verification check using Google's Gemini chatbot or the Google Lens feature to detect that watermark. Sounds like a really solid plan, right? But reality had a completely different plan. While internal verification tools like Google's Gemini chatbot were meant to spot the manipulation, they were effectively tricked. Gemini actually told investigators that these fake images were entirely real. Meanwhile, BBC Verify found it was incredibly easy to circumnavigate the checks completely. Even external third-party AI detection tools totally failed to identify the AI content generated by Google Earth. So the crucial point here is understanding how users got past that very first line of defense, the text prompts. BBC Verify used basic semantic trickery to easily bypass these filters. When they asked the AI to build a raised platform to hang traitors next to the UK Parliament, the safety guidelines worked perfectly, and the prompt was rejected. But when they used a slightly less specific, vaguely worded prompt, the AI happily accepted it and generated the exact same harmful image of a gallows. Actually, it's like the AI was playing a game of keyword bingo, looking for specific bad words rather than understanding the actual intent behind the prompt. This second example brilliantly illustrates the absurdity of current AI safety filters. BBC Verify asked the tool to mow the word Trump into the White House lawn. Blocked immediately. But when they asked it to generate a community garden in that exact same spot, the AI happily got to planting. It's incredibly rigid about specific political buzzwords while being completely blind to massive structural geographical manipulation. Finally, part 4, the erosion of trust. Why losing the map matters globally. The absolutely crucial point we have to address now is why the corruption of this specific type of data, satellite imagery, is uniquely dangerous for our society as a whole. We are undergoing a massive shift in how we view satellite data. Historically, as geospatial analyst Bill Greer points out, this was seen as an especially trustworthy source of data. It was the objective ground truth, unblemished by AI. It was the entry point for journalists and the public to get openly accessible insights into hard-to-reach areas. But in this new reality, that trust is being eroded by constant doubt. Falsified imagery is actively being used to spread misinformation. And because of this, governments are restricting access to real data more and more, meaning we're going to end up with fewer real images and way more fake ones. As AI detection researcher Henry Adger notes, spaces assumed to be unblemished by AI are valuable, particularly for journalists and people trying to do work on the front lines of rapidly evolving crisis scenarios. Think back to those fake images of Gaza or Ukraine we mentioned earlier. In a fast-moving conflict zone where information is incredibly scarce, journalists absolutely rely on untampered data to report the truth to the world. If bad actors can just flood social media with fake satellite imagery that inherits the trusted look of Google Earth, and the detection tools fail to catch it, the very foundation of how we verify global events starts to crumble. And that leaves us with a profound overarching question. If we can no longer trust the map, how do we navigate the truth? Google pulled Nano Banana 2 in just 48 hours because they recognized they had inadvertently handed a powerful tool of deception to the world without the proper shields in place. As AI continues to blend seamlessly into the tools we use every single day, this 48-hour window serves as a massive wake-up call for the tech industry and for all of us consuming digital information. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious and always question what you see on the map.